Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be with our next guest, Keith Blanchard. He is the president and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis. How are you doing, Keith?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on your show again. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Hey, well, we've gone through a pandemic, and we'll talk about the impact on your organization for sure. But give us a little bit, for the starting point of this, give us a little bit of history and context, because it's a long legacy here in the Mid-South and around our nation as well. So give us some context for your organization.
Yeah, Memphis has played a vital role in Boys and Girls Clubs movement nationwide. In fact, we're considered now one of the top programs in the country. We're called a major metro. There's certain metrics that you have to meet to qualify for that. That's size and budget size and number of kids served and number of club sites that are operating. But there's clubs all over the country. As you know, we're in every state. We're on military bases overseas. We're on native land as well. So it's a quite expansive, complex program that encompasses all different types of services. Memphis is kind of known for a few things. But I would say our primary thing that we do here is a little bit different, and it's funny because when I first came, we were the only club in the country that really focused on workforce development, and now it's the number one movement within Boys and Girls Clubs of America. So we've gotten a lot of attention in the last few years because of that. It's been great for the city because we've had so many people come here to visit, tour, and see what we do, and I'm really proud of that. So I like to talk about that quite a bit, as you know.
Absolutely. We'll definitely touch on that for sure. But talk about scope in terms of, average number of kids and centers. Give us some scope and some numbers.
We're up to nine locations now that are functioning. We prior to the pandemic, we were serving about 5,200 kids a year. We're going to probably be a little bit less than that this year at the end of the year, but we don't know that. It's growing quickly now as the kids come back. We were averaging about 1,200 kids a day in our clubs, and we hope to get back to that number soon. We're getting close. So it's a lot of kids. It's in a variety of different ages. So we go from 6 years old up to 18, and our technical training center actually goes up to 21.
And on your end, you've got a number of pillars, including good character and citizenship, healthy lifestyles, academic success, and then career success, as you alluded to, is a big piece of this as well.
Right.
Talk about how those are manifested in the organization.
Well, those are the pillars that you said, and then within those, there's a variety of programs that fall into that category. And that's one of the great things about being a member of a national organization like Boys and Girls Clubs of America, is that they provide a lot of programming, research-based, science-based, tested, and so we know these programs work. And so then we are able to select the ones that are best fit for us. So, for example, under academic success, we have a program called Power Hour, Project Learn, which are homework assistance and tutoring programs that fall into that. Healthy lifestyles, we have healthy eating programs. We have our own greenhouse, grow our own. A lot of our clubs grow vegetables. Healthy lifestyles also incorporates athletics, and so recreation, sports programs, basketball, flag football, things like that. And then good character and citizenship, which I think is incredibly important. So it's there are some programs like our Youth of the Year program falls under that, where each club selects a Youth of the Year. They compete in the state, regional, and national level. And then we also have Keystone Club, which is a club for teenagers. And it's basically a service club. So they pick their own projects, community service projects. They elect a president, a vice president, a secretary, and so forth. Learn Robert's Rules of Order, and then they go out and execute those projects. So really, that's just a simplified version of a lot of programming. Over 120 programs that we have access to in robotics, STEM. I can go on and on, but that's the whole idea of this, is to find something that every child is interested in, and then we can help them find their true passion and go from there.
And you mentioned, obviously, career success being a major platform for Memphis that's now becoming something nationwide that's a big push. You have the Juice Plus Technical Training Center. Talk about the different training programs and around this workforce development kind of mindset that you're really headed to in a big way.
Well, my background was in law enforcement, and I've been tapped on the shoulder here by multiple people and politicians and nonprofits and businesses that, how can we solve a couple of problems? One, obviously, is juvenile violence, crime, and then the other one is a workforce, and the need for employees. So that's kind of how the TTC began, was trying to fill that need for employees. And so we started out, we basically offer all of our kids to come there what we call essential skills, or some people call them soft skills. So all of our kids go through that: resume writing, interview techniques, how to dress for a meeting, how to dress for an interview, how to answer questions. We help them make a LinkedIn account and get headshots. We have a clothing closet where they can select a suit or a dress for an interview. And then we offer 5 different tracks. So we have culinary arts, which is one of our most popular programs I mentioned before. We have welding, automotive, logistics, and IT. And so the kids get certifications in those different programs, and then we have a staff that helps them go out, get interviews, and helps them get a job. So ever since I've been here, which is going on 7 years, it's hard to believe now, but 100% of those kids have graduated from high school on time, and they've 100% have either gone into the workforce, entered the military, or gone on to a 4-year college, or some combination of the three. And then since we last spoke last year, we tried something a little bit different. We realized that those 5 tracks might not be enough. There might be some other things kids would be interested in. And so we started doing internships. And we partnered, one of the most successful ones was Memphis Hospital. So we partnered with them. Our kids got to spend time in each of the departments, everywhere from housekeeping to radiation oncology to administration. It was a great experience. We hope to do that again this year. It really was nice to see those kids at their graduation. We had doctors and nurses and administrative staff. Even the CEO from the hospital was there. And the kids walked away with some great experiences, some good social contact. And it was, I think we hope to do a lot more of that this year.
You mentioned at the onset the pandemic and the impact. Talk about what the pandemic did, in terms of impact on your organization, and kind of where you are in this moment as things start to open back up and get back to more of a normal.
I've been doing this almost 20 years. I can tell you I've never been more proud of the people that work with me and for me. It was, obviously when this first broke and this thing shut down, we closed for about a week. And I brought my staff in and said, in a gym separated by a lot of space and a lot of masks, and we talked, and I said, look, we have to make a decision. We can either stay home and possibly not have a job to come back to, or we can do what we're really hired to do in the first place, which is serve kids, and they need us. And I think that's proven to be even more powerful than we could have ever imagined back in the beginning of that. I'm afraid we've got a lost generation right now. Kids have been out of school for over a year, and especially the older kids. So that still bothers me to this day. How are we going to reach them and re-engage with them? But what we did was we partnered with the Tennessee Department of Health and Human Services and worked with the governor's office, and we were able to secure some funding to allow us to reopen and serve children of essential work, which a lot of our families already were, and that was very helpful. So we opened up one club at first and used that kind of as a trial basis, kind of an experiment to make sure that we could do this safely and adequately, and then we gradually opened all of our sites back up, and we were serving. We obviously had to reduce the number of kids we could serve because of social distancing and so forth. So we were averaging 50 to 60 kids a day. We're now back up close to 100. So, like you said, things are slowly coming back to normal. But when school started, a lot of the families elected to stay with us. So we had kids that were doing their virtual schoolwork from the club, and then we had staff there to help them. And I can tell you that I don't know what would have happened without those staff members, because it's hard enough to keep kids engaged online, but when there's nobody there watching them and helping them and navigating through the different programs and softwares and making sure they stay awake and they're not on their phones and so forth. And again, very proud of my staff for what they were able to do last summer and then throughout the school year and continue to do today.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and talk about different ways that we can plug in and help your efforts. And you look at the the corporate side, like you said, internship, job shadowing, there's tons of ways that companies can plug in, including sponsorships for events. So start listing off some of the many ways that we can help your efforts.
Well, as you can imagine, this is a pretty big operation. We've got about a $6 million budget this last year, and 130, 140 employees, a lot of kids, and we're hoping to grow. Prior to the pandemic, we were on a pretty good trajectory, and we're opening up more clubs, and we've got plans to continue that. So those negotiations have already started again, and we'll hope to make some announcements about that soon. So, but as you mentioned, we're always looking for new funding sources and new donors, and new stakeholders and supporters and board members too. So those are all ways to help. You can make a donation directly to us on our website, ddcm.org. But we also have quite a few events, and I know a lot of people like events, and so we think we have 2 or 3 of the more enjoyable ones. They're a lot of fun. I know you're a tennis player, so our first one coming up is next month on August 6th and 7th. We've added pickleball this year, so we're going to have pickleball on the 6th and tennis on the 7th at 4 different locations around town. I was looking it up the other day. It's our 23rd year, and I think we've raised over $2.5 million since we started that tournament. So it's really grown and become. It's won a couple of USTA awards for one of the better nonprofit tennis tournaments in the country and in the state. So we're pretty happy with that.
Absolutely.
So
I have my ticket. I'm ready to play. So
yeah,
to your point, it's a lot of fun because you get all the different levels, you kind of pair them up and you rotate around and you get to meet a lot of just amazing people and play a lot of tennis. But to your point, adding pickleball, which is extremely popular.
Right,
and then you have a kind of a nightcap event as well that has a silent auction and a gathering opportunity. And so you've got a really cool layers and dynamics to this event, which is neat.
Exactly. That's what we try to do is make sure that it's fun and people have a good time. There's a lot of good tennis, a lot of good players playing this thing. And then we have the big party Saturday nights. It's going to be a crosstown concourse again, fortunately. And we have a band, live music, some really good food, and a silent auction. So it's a great event and culmination. It's a big party. And then we have our golf tournament, which last year normally it would be in July. We moved it to October this year. So it's going to be on October 11th and 12th at Chickasaw Country Club. It's the Coach Cochran Classic. I don't know if a lot of people know who Coach is, but Coach has been with our organization for over 40 years as a board member and as an employee, as a volunteer. But he's an incredible person. He's the head golf coach at Rhodes College. His son qualified for the senior PGA Tour, and he's playing this week, I think. So long legacy there with Coach and his family, his father, and now his son. So we named the tournament after him. We've got a really nice big trophy, and it's a great event. Chickasaw is a beautiful course. It's actually a 2-day event, the 11th and 12th. And then our biggest event and kind of our signature event is Steak and Burger, and that's coming up on November 4th. We'll be making some announcements pretty soon about locations and speakers, but this is our 50th anniversary. So it's a big deal. It's an event that we started in Memphis. You mentioned our reputation nationwide. Steak and Burger was fun. It was started 50 years ago, and the name came about where the kids get the steaks and the adults get the burgers. And so that's kind of that's where it came from. And so Boys and Girls Clubs all over the country kind of copied that idea. But we've had some, incredible speakers over the year. We've had Nick Saban, we've had Penny Hardaway, we've had Bobby Bowden and Michael Orr, and it's just, the list is amazing. We've had astronauts, and I can think of Jackie Joyner Kersey and quite a few others over the years. So we hope to have a great speaker this year, and probably be back at Graceland again. I can't say too much about that yet, but which has been an incredible venue. So we're looking forward to those, and I hope people will check online. There's information about all 3.
Well, you go from pickleball and tennis to golf, and then obviously Steak and Burger, the 50th anniversary. So to your point, diversity with the events, but all of them tremendous ways to get involved and support your efforts. What's something that you wish everyone knew about Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis?
I get asked that occasionally, and I think, the one thing I can say that always comes to my mind some of the kids that have come through this organization. And some come back, we've hired, they now work for us. Others have gone on and done some amazing things. There's one, I know I talk about her a lot, but she's a young lady that went to our buckling club and then transitioned over to the technical training center. Her name is Akia Walker. She went to Howard University, graduated summa cum laude. She did an internship with Boeing a couple of years ago. She studied abroad in Paris, France. She was Forbes 30 under 30. Just the list goes on and on and on of accomplishments. I actually, because she was at Howard, I was able to take her to a national meeting in Washington, D.C. She had a chance to actually introduce Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross at a workforce development board and committee with CEOs from around the country. And she did an amazing job at that. She sent me her graduation picture the other day, and it just really made me happy. So she's taken a job. She went to work for Price Waterhouse in Atlanta, doing cybersecurity there. And that's just one example of so many that have gone on and done some amazing things. And I don't think people think about that. They know the programs we do, and they think we're just a swimming gym type thing, and they don't realize the hard work that these kids put in, the hard miles, and many of them are very, very successful. We're proud of that.
Absolutely. Well, you've mentioned it before, but mention it again. Where do we go to learn more? Website, social media, phone numbers? Where would you direct us to get involved?
Everything we have is on the website. All the events, the clubs, the staff, they're all listed on there. So it's bgcm.org, and they can check us out there. Donation page, event page, whatever information they need. And if anybody'd be interested in a tour now that we're opening back up, we do that quite a bit. So it's really the best way to see us in action is to see one of the clubs up close.
Well, Keith, greatly appreciate all you and your amazing team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate you having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.